What's going on, everybody? This is Zach back here with another NBA DFS video for today, Tuesday, March the 23rd. As always, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe to this channel and like this video. It helps the channel really grow and reach more people out there that like this content. And so, again, if you are new, the content here is geared towards building more of a single lineup approach to use like in single entry contests, but also to use in the large MME GPPs. I just don't like using an optimizer and trying to get exposure to every player out there. That's just not really my style. So again, the picks here and the analysis here is going to be more over players to be used in that single lineup approach. So let's go ahead and jump into today's slate. Starting off with my three favorite games. So we have first Washington versus New York. As everybody knows, Washington's a really prime matchup to always target against. So definitely going to have some interest in players from the Knicks side of the ball as well. Then we have Brooklyn versus Portland. Now the big news here is, of course, Kyrie Irving is out. Kevin Durant, of course, is still out. James Harden did have a neck injury in the last game against Washington, but still questionable as of now. He was able to play that second half of the Wizards game, so I am fully expecting him to play today. However, if he is rolled out, of course, that's just going to open up a ton of value all over the Nets side of the ball. So be looking out for that injury news as well. And then lastly, we have the Lakers versus the Pelicans. So I do have some interest here in this game as well. Let's just go ahead and jump into my favorite studs for today. So studs are going to be players priced 9K and above. And at the top here, yeah, James Harden at 11K. So, of course, no Kyrie, no KD. As long as James Harden is playing and we don't have any report of like any type of restriction or minutes cap, anything like that, James Harden is going to be by far my favorite stud of this list, and I will definitely be locking him in to every lineup that I build at 11K. He's just going to have that insane usage rate that we've come to know with James Harden. Also, a really favorable matchup against Portland, should be pretty fast paced, and I would bet that James Harden would have a triple double tonight as long as he is in and fully ready to go. Next up, we have Russell Westbrook at 10-8. So Westbrook is just balling out of control, back to that old Russell Westbrook, putting up those numbers that we were used to seeing from him during his MVP year. Just going crazy for the Wizards right now. Triple doubles galore. And against the Knicks, a little bit of a slower defensive paced team. So not as favorable of a matchup as James Harden is. But if Harden is rolled out, I definitely have no problem going to Russell Westbrook as my stud of choice here. But if forced to pick between the two, Westbrook and Harden, I definitely prefer Harden here for my stud list. And then rounding out my favorite studs at 9.9K, we have Mr. Julius Randle. Julius Randle, now 9.9 can seem a bit pricey from him, but just look at this guy's minutes that he's getting. Playing, under Tom Thibodeau, having those crazy minutes, high 30s, low 40s minutes per game, and he's just producing like crazy. He has a really, really good matchup against the Washington Wizards, and so I have no reason to doubt that Julius Randle will drop a 50 bomb here. I fully expect him to hit 50 points and pay off that salary. Again, if forced to pick one of these studs, I definitely prefer James Harden, not even close. So he's the one I'm definitely building around. And on tonight's slate, I don't think you have to pick two of these stars. I think there's some players in that mid-tier range that we can also build around, and there's also some good value out there as of right now. So I definitely will have James Harden in all my lineups. And again, if you want to throw one of these two other guys in there, I think you can do it pretty easily, but I think I like some other players more. Now jumping into my favorite upper mid-range plays. So these are going to be players priced between 7 and 9K. Starting off at the top, we have Ben Simmons here at 8.8. So still no Embiid for the Sixers, which means Ben Simmons' usage rate is getting up there. Tobias Harris has been playing really well recently as well, but Ben Simmons going up against the Golden State Warriors, this should still be an up-tempo, fast-paced game. I don't think there's anybody near the rim that can stop Ben Simmons. Nobody that's going to be able to contain him. And if Philly shooters start knocking down their shots, then Ben Simmons is going to post some really good assist numbers as well. So I do have some interest in Ben Simmons here at 8.8. I think he's a solid price tag for his performance. Going next, though, we have Zion Williamson at 8.7. So Zion's just super, super consistent in his numbers and what he does. You can always count on at least a floor of 40 with that 50-point upside. And I think this is a good matchup for him going up against the depleted Lakers squad for him to hit one of those upside ceiling games. I do have a lot of interest in Zion here as well. No one down low that's going to be able to contain or stop him from getting to the bucket and getting some boards. And so I do have a lot of interest in Zion in this game as well. And then also in his teammate, Mr. Brandon Ingram, priced under 8K. We have not seen Ingram priced, this cheap for a while. He can be kind of up and down as far as his DK numbers go, but this is a really good again matchup for him as well, going up against his former squad in the Lakers, for him to put up some really nice scoring numbers and maybe grab some boards and some of those auxiliary stats as well to put up a really nice DK score. So I do have some interest in Ingram here as well. Although he's probably my least favorite of these three plays. I think Zion's probably my favorite play as of right now, then Ben Simmons, and then Ingram. But again, for the price point of 7.8K, I think Ingram can pretty easily get at least 35 with the upside of 40 plus tonight. So moving on to my lower mid-range plays. These are going to be players priced in between 5 and 7K. Again, another Pelican. I just like the matchup tonight for them as well. But we have Lonzo Ball at 6.8. So Lonzo, keep an eye out on that injury. He didn't play last game, but if he does play, we saw him really kind of getting it together last couple of games, posting DK scores in the high 30s, low 40s. And at this price point, that is all that you want from him to provide that value. And so again, if he's out, lock and load with Nickeil Alexander-Walker. But if Lonzo Ball is playing and there's no type of cap or minutes restriction, I do have some interest here in Lonzo as well. Right underneath Lonzo, we have RJ Barrett at 6.6. So RJ Barrett is a player that we've seen put up some really nice games recently. Another player that's kind of unpredictable in what he's going to do, but in a really, really favorable matchup at that small forward position. Have no issue with just plugging RJ Barrett in and watching him work. I think we can probably expect from RJ Barrett at least 30 to 35 DK points as his floor. And as we've seen recently, he has that upside to go, for 45 plus if his shot's falling. So again, really plus matchup for RJ. No issue with plugging him in here either. And then we go to Mr. Joe Harris at 5.4. So again, no Kyrie Irving for the Nets. So Joe Harris is going to have to step up as kind of that number 2 shooter. And I can definitely see this game flow working out for him. Portland, can't really defend the perimeter that well. And so we can see James Harden, getting that penetration, dishing out to Joe Harris. And with Joe Harris shots falling, he can definitely light it up as well. So I do have some interest in Joe Harris at 5.4. And now we go into my favorite scrubs. So these are going to be players priced 5K and under. Again, I think there's a lot of decent value on this slate already. And of course, watch out for the injury news. But as of right now, I do have a lot of scrubs I think are in play. Starting at the top, Mr. Danny Green, 4.9. So it definitely grosses me out to recommend Danny Green, but he's posted 2 straight games of 30 plus. No Seth Curry, no Joel Embiid. He's having to really take on a scoring load, and he's been delivering the last 2 games. So I think he's definitely my least favorite scrub play. But like if you have 4.9 left, you like the rest of your lineup, definitely don't have an issue with just plugging Danny Green in there. He should be able to get you at least 25 and pay off that price tag today against Golden State. Going underneath him though, 4.2, probably one of the chalkier plays of the slate, but can provide some real value is Mr. Bruce Brown. Expected to fill in for Kyrie. He's a solid DFS player when given the minutes. Now, I definitely don't expect a 10x performance from him or anything crazy like that, but I think 20 to 25 as a floor is really reasonable for Bruce Brown with that upside of maybe 30 plus in a really good matchup against Portland. Alex Lynn looked really good last game against Brooklyn. seemed to be really gelling with Russell Westbrook. Westbrook was driving in a lot and just dishing off the Lin near the bucket. Lin was just, getting easy dunks, getting some really nice post moves, post scoring opportunities as well, and getting some really good rebounding numbers. And so we saw like a $200 price increase after putting up a really, really great game last time out, and going against this matchup against New York. Don't have any issue going right back to Alex Lin. Now, I don't expect another 10x performance from him, but I think he can get you 20 DK points as a floor. And at this price tag, that's going to provide you with some really, really good value on this slate to get up to, a James Harden and Westbrook if you want to try to make that two stud combo work. But yeah, I definitely like Alex Lin a lot again today at 3.9. But also at that same price point, we have Nicholas Claxton also from the Nets. And as mentioned in that last game they played each other, were the Wizards and the Nets. I watched pretty much that entire game, and Claxton was someone that really, really just stuck out. I mean, this guy was a pure spark plug for the Nets off the bench. He was everywhere, scoring the ball really well, really good defense, and playing really, really well for that Nets in that rotation. And he's someone that's been trending upward with his minutes, and if given the opportunity with minutes, I think he can really, really provide a real impact on the box score. Claxton, there is some concern. Blake Griffin's in the mix now. How many minutes does Blake Griffin get this game, his second game with the Nets? And of course, DeAndre Jordan's still there. But I mean, again, when watching this game, Claxton was someone that just stuck out from the crowd, and really stuck out on the screen just with his performance. And so, maybe it's a pivot off a chalkier Alex Lin, but they're going to need, more people to score the ball, and Claxton can definitely do that. And then my last scrub recommend at 3.1K, we have Mr. Tyler Johnson. Again, should be filling in for Kyrie. Tyler Johnson's a really, really good scorer. And if given, at least 20 minutes, I can definitely see him hitting value here pretty easily. And so no issue with just plugging in Tyler Johnson. I'm expecting Bruce Brown to start, but if for some reason, Tyler Johnson starts, of course, just not going to load Tyler Johnson, as he should definitely be probably the chalkiest player on the slate at this time. But even if Tyler Johnson's not starting, I definitely still have some interest in him. For A, providing some cap relief, and then B, again, really plus matchup. He should still get some good run off of the bench with no Kyrie. And so that's going to sum it up for today, guys. Again, make sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, help this content grow, and let's go get that money tonight. Have a good day.